Now we'll bevel the backrest. It's an editable spline. Notice that its pivot point is over here. I'd like to center that to the object. You know that reorienting the pivot point won't solve any problems. The local axis here indicates that the z direction is this way. So if we try to bevel or extrude the object, it's going to give us the same problem that we had with the seat. We need to trick Max into using a different creation axis for the object. So to do that, we need to create a rectangle in the correct plane. That's a bigger challenge here because this object has some arbitrary angle with respect to the ground. So matching that angle is going to be a little bit more challenging. To solve this problem, we'll create a grid object, and let's try snapping it to one of the corners of this object. There's a grid. So far, so good. I'll use Quick Align by pressing Shift A to align it with the backrest spline. So now the center of the grid matches up with the center of the backrest. Then I'll use the Align tool by pressing Alt A, and I'll click on the backrest. And I'd like to align it to one of the local axes of the object. It looks like here I need to use the z-axis, and that is reorienting the plane correctly. It's just 90 degrees out of phase. So I'll rotate it using angle snap around its local axis. You see, now the grid is parallel with the object that we want to bevel. I'll activate that grid and then create a rectangle on it. You see the beauty of that approach? We're able to get a new object on that plane. Now I can delete the user grid. It's no longer needed. We'll trick Max at this point by selecting the rectangle, converting it into a spline, and attaching the backrest to it. I'll go to the spline level and get rid of this inner rectangle, and the trick is complete. Now this object's local z-axis points out in the correct direction. Now I'll assign the Bevel modifier, and all of the parameters that I inputted previously are still there. I'll go into the left viewport and zoom in on that, turn off snaps, and just move that down, and we have it. Go into perspective, and there we have our chair. I guess the last step is to group all the objects together, call it chair 1, and move that pivot point down to the ground. I need to do it in the view system so I can get absolute values down here. And there you have it.